Hello, people. Sometimes you just need to say things you haven't heard before or haven't said before because it is just the right time, or it's better said now. Yeah. Or rather, it's better begun to be said, and then over time to iteratively improve the signal versus noise, and then the matter is more clearer. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about. Hmm. Let's just say me and my world. Let's say what's new about him. He's like, okay, it's you and your world. What are you to do with, you go out with your talking video stuff. But consider him saying me and my world from a different model of reality that I call a person-centric model of the universe. Why is this important? It's just there are so many theories out there, so many philosophies, ways of looking at things. But when I'm saying me and my world, I'm talking to the person who's listening. And the person who's listening is also a me. If you're going to say, point a finger at yourself and you're going to say me, that's not going to be this me, that's going to be you me. The me that is, yeah, within all the different layers of identities is a me. Me and my world. When I point my finger to my body, my person, I'm not talking about you or another person, but about me and my person. Me and my world. So it's a different way of looking at things. And I'm talking from the person centric model of the universe. So this is like a message to everybody who's listening to us. We may not be talking in terms of this because there may not be this model of reality, starting from a person centric model of the universe. So we have the earth centric model of the universe, or earth-centric model of the solar system. We have the heliocentric model of the solar system. And there are several other models, but I don't think we really have a model of the universe. We kind of think it's like Earth, it's like round, and then that's the shape of the universe. And then there's this idea that there are many universes, much like how we have the idea of the Earth. There are many other balls. And that's like kind of regarded as universe, and then there is multiverse, yeah, or round spheres. Uh, There are several ideas about the idea of the multiverse. For example, just like how we see galaxies, where we see galaxies of different shapes, sizes, yeah, there's this idea that the universe is similarly different layers, different, much like how we see galaxies, there are different time spaces distributions. Similarly, universes is in this what we call as the dark matter. We see space as a lot of dark matter, within which, say, we see stars, planets, galaxies, depending on the telescope and the viewing instrument. Similarly, in this dark space is also, just like how we see galaxies, there are many universes in different stages of development. Yeah. So that's an idea which has been proposed. And because they may not have found scientific evidence or perspectives from which to appreciate this, consequently, may have been discarded or under consideration. Maybe it's there, not there, but maybe most likely not, and not the popular model of reality, or yeah, how to see things and how to calculate things by. Um, and then I'm proposing this. I have been living life from this, and life is more meaningful. Yeah, I'm referring to Sartre. Life is empty and meaningless, and then the landmark education um, curriculum. There, they extended that quote to life is empty and meaningless. And it's empty and meaningless that it's empty and meaningless. Um, and that kind of brings another perspective, another gravitas to the matter of what is life is empty and meaningless. Um, because we tend to make a meaning out of that sentence itself. So that extension, life is empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless. That is empty and meaningless. Yeah, kind of qualifies it. Um, and then there is the biblical book of Genesis. There's talking about in the beginning there was nothing, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Yeah. So, um, so this empty and meaningless kind of alludes to the idea of nothing. And then I discovered, for example, that the Big Bang, everything went outside and nothing was left in the middle. And nothing has been attempting to keep things together, bring things together, and bring it all together and fine. And the book of Genesis starts from in the beginning there was nothing. Yeah. So from this person-centric model of the universe, from me and my world, why is this important? Because everybody have a me, and we have the world, the life we live. And the book of Genesis says, in the beginning there was nothing. So let's just give it a little more context. In my story, now we all have a life story. Our body formed from several people taking care of us over time, from that little baby, wee little baby, to this shape size. I mean, everybody have a shape size age, yeah? Degrees of health, what we do in life. We have a story. We have a story of what's our body, of how our life is, who we are, how we related, how do people see us, how we see people or relate with life. And we have our worldviews and we have our stories. And we keep making stuff, stories at least. We create something and we have an experience of living based on, oh, my life is like this. Yeah. Or, yay, my life is like this. Yeah. And all of these are different energy, you would say, or different expressions from how is our state of being, well being or not. Yeah. And these are all coming from different levels of stories, or let's just say meanings, or at least impressions that we make of people, that we make of ourselves, that we make of, I touch, say, anything. And then I make a meaning out of how it feels. And then my nervous system is already processing information and then forming another layer of the story. And then there is a tissue memory, and then there is metabolism, what I feel like eating because I touch something. Yeah, I touched a certain substance, and then I don't want to now go and it's feeling nice. I don't want to go and touch something that is going to spoil this experience. So I will eat something that is not going to change this experience. So your choices is sometimes given by what are you feeling? Yeah, how's your mood? Yep. Are you feeling good, bad? And consequently, I won't eat that which mommy prepared. I'm going to eat something else. Yeah, not that I want something else. Because your bodily experience is different. And you don't want to spoil the mood. Yeah. So mommy makes all kinds of things. But you're not in the mood of it. You don't want to spoil the story that's your present moment. Never mind what mommy is going through. Yeah, because it's all difficult and then she made and then mommy's story of my life and my people don't appreciate what I'm doing. I have to do this. Yeah. Her story, your story. Right from a birth, we have our stories. And then, in my story, I was told when my mom got angry, and I was being all with attitude, we got it by age. And so you all have a different attitude, states of being. And so I was not being quite so grounded and then centered and then, behave. Yeah. So she would say, yeah, where are you flying? Stand on the ground. You're nothing. What do you think you are? Yeah. So that helped me ground very fast, kind of, or at least had me think about what's she talking about. Yeah, in Malayalam, they say, "Ni onnualla." Yeah, you're nothing. So over time, English, when I learned English, I connected this onnumalla with the nothing. Yeah. You just nothing. And then I had to really look at, so there is something, and there's anything, and then there's everything, and then there's nothing. Yeah. So I had to kind of figure out there are so many something, anything, everything, and then these are all related words with nothing. That is after me thinking about what is this world is nothing. Yeah. Undumala. It's kind of like an existential, experiential thing. I'm nothing. Yeah. But I have my so many identities. People call me so many nice things and not, I mean, nothing. Yeah. So then I had to kind of look at stuff. So somebody had to introduce everything is not also fine. There is also not so fine. Kind of like hardening me up to, life is not also fine and beautiful. And then, yeah, so we got a little cookie, but then that's also necessary. Otherwise, you're like, yay, y'all, one nice little joy. And um, so it's not about hoarding. It's about discovering at different stages of life that there are different aspects to life and living. Yeah. So consequently, my stories took shape from the different experiences. Yeah. So do you see how I'm kind of relating with me and my world? You, when you point to yourself, you have your me and my world. Yeah. And the stories of life as is formed from there. And what choices we make, don't make, how we see fact versus fiction, fake news versus truth. How do you discern which is true, which is false? Which is in your imagination. You build that up. You even have sometimes lengthy conversations within yourself, like in your mind's space, or you wrote something on your Word document or your book, and you think you've had an entire conversation with somebody. And it's like, when did you say this? Because in your mind you said that, or you wrote it, but that hasn't really happened out there. Yeah, you haven't really had that conversation out there, and you're expecting something to happen. Yeah, I said all this now. Things should happen, right? But it hasn't really happened out there. You haven't really had that conversation out there. And sometimes we live life in our own world, in our own universe. In our Yoga Shastra call it as the Antaranga and the Bahiranga. Yeah, the world out there, how we interact with the world out there, versus living in our own world universe. Yeah. And our experience of living consequently. Expectations, what outcomes we have, how people relate with us, what do we do to improve how things are, how the stories are, how people relate with us, how we relate with people, and consequently, their stories about us and our stories about them. And there is another story. Life is like this. Your story about me, my story about you. And life is like this. Like life has a story and the meaning about life. And this life is empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless, is also given by how much of meanings we have put, or we may have put over time, to what life means or what life is. And Sartre may have alluded to, at least begun a conversation, to kind of bring a space of nothing, or to introduce the idea of nothing, because we may have laden what life means with meanings that needed a little digestion. It's like you have a plate and you have food on it, and it may not be as tasty or beautiful or something that you like to eat as much as you you would look forward to, like in a plate of food. And sometimes you need to actually work it through. Otherwise, you have like landfills. Yeah, stinky. You could need a little recycling. Life not so very beautiful as it could be. So somebody had to introduce the idea of in the beginning there was nothing. But I mean, the book of Genesis is there, but how do you kind of connect with, you've made meanings about what life is. So Sartre has been working on it, thought about things through, and came up with this sentence because that is the experience that he came up with. And Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, that song, um, Queen song, quite famous, Bohemian Rhapsody. Towards the end, it kind of he says, Um, Nothing matters. Yeah. I mean, like all of everything, nothing really matters. And I was thinking that's not true because I've been facilitating health clinically, and I'm saying that nothing is also the practitioner neutral, and spiritual enthusiasts are like, ooh, nothing is a state of, oh, something that is not so easily got in people. That's like, ooh, the star on the Christmas tree. Yeah, right on top there. It's not something, is it, nothing is not something that doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, like, matters. Yeah. So I was thinking we have different perspectives of what nothing is. My mom also said, you're nothing. Yeah. You got to get it. Yeah. Where do you think you're flying off? So I have gotten a little prime directive into thinking about nothing early on in life. Yeah. So we all have a certain job placement. Yeah. Over time, my inquiry into we all have a reason, a purpose for coming into existence. And our parents, in some way, through the baby and the mother and father, all connected through the placenta, the mother's body, the father's material form, the placenta, um, baby forms in the mother's womb, yeah, mother's body. And over time, the baby and mother, they all kind of talk to each other about what's the whole plan, kind of, a little bit, yeah. So parents are kind of taking care of the baby's development. Yeah, because the story is kind of birthed from the body. Yeah, it's a visceral experience. We are all stories birthed from a human body. Yeah, so we are like, story continues. Yeah, and from a person centric model of the universe, where our body also has genetic information, mother material, father material, grandparents, ancestors, what have you, earth, water, fire, air, spirit, space. The same microcosm, macrocosm that created, that's part of what we call the universe, which we don't really know the shape of, um, and planets and galaxies and what have you, and our own physical body, computers, chairs, earth, water, fire, air, spirit, space, different combinations, chemicals, periodic table, which formed over several human evolutionary cycles. And people inquiring into, oh, you know what, this is different from this. And this is related with this, but not really the same thing, but in different combinations. So you have crude to ennobled. So the periodic table, to put into that table, took some time. That is when people started inquiring into, there is a pattern here. Somebody's going to kind of note this down. Yeah. So centric model of the solar system, heliocentric model of the solar system. When you go to school, you have so many subjects. Each of those subjects formed over time into textual format for kids to learn from from baby class to PhD to whatever. Over time, from different people studying that subject and in a way that kids can learn. Yeah, in different stages of development. That's a lot of work. Mommy makes dish in the kitchen, yeah, for everybody to eat. For that dish to form, humanity had to first discover how to make fire. Yeah. So there is heat and planets and all of that. But to actually ignite fire, they had to discover how to, for example, beat stones or churn with wood and how to form fire. Like when you want fire, you have fire. How to have that? Now we just ignite a lighter or just press of a button and yeah, the gas stove or induction cooker, you don't even need fire. You just have the heat and cooking is happening. To come from there to here and then people kind of like, oh, when forest fire meat is cooking is kind of interesting. Yeah. Make fire in the kitchen and then put potato. Boiled potatoes are interesting. And then you combine different vegetables put together, that forms interesting taste. So to form a recipe that your mom is making, it's taken a lot of circus for many people. Better put this and this. Don't put these two together, it'll become poison. Put this and this together, it is better. Yeah, it tastes nicer. something happens in the body versus when you put this and this certain other things together. It's an entire science. So your mom is doing nothing short of what a scientist does. Yeah. And what happens to your body in your. There is this teleseries called Cupid's Kitchen. There in that there is an episode that talks about degree of salt. Yeah. Three dishes. The difference between the dishes is 0.1% of salt. Like point 4, point 3, point 2 difference in salt between the dishes. And they had to taste and tell what is the amount of salt in each of these dishes. So that's the degree of training for a chef. Like they look at the grain of salt from a particular brand and they should know how much quantity is it without using a measuring scale. So can you imagine the amount of skill that they need to develop? Yeah, zero point 0.4 by just a few grains. No, this is 0.2, this is 0.3, 0.4. And then to taste it and then say within three dishes, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. Okay, that's one thing. And mommy, they make something a little extra. They're not chefs. They're not like 3 Michelin chef restaurant chef, but you survive. You don't eat food. It becomes a little interesting. Or if you are so very particular, go cook yourself. Then you'll discover a skill. Yeah. And you will have your own story about, oh, I can do this. Yeah. Somebody is like, I don't know to boil water. And then you're like, I can eat this dish. So, so some people have software capacities. They can program softwares. Other people can write. So every one of us have our own skill sets. Me and my world, from a person-centric model of the universe, how I see my world and how I see the world from what I have, what I don't have, and how I relate with others who may have things more than I have or not. And I have my own skill sets. They have their own skill sets, and we are all on the same planet. Since some time, they've been looking for life on other planets, species, people to interact with. Yeah, they have sent an Arecibo message to um, M13 cluster. Yeah, in another galaxy, outer skirts of the Milky Way. Yeah, um, and so there are many attempts to reach out to life. We could probably begin start talking to each other, and that will be closer, or at least it'll take a telephone to reach out to another, and telephone is not as expensive as sending an Arecibo message to another galaxy, no star cluster. Um, but it might as well be because sometimes you have a difficulty just picking up the phone and then talking to people, and the telephone took some time for me. Yeah, Graham Bell took some time making the telephone or the light bulb, or yeah. So maybe the light a little bit goes on. And from a person-centric model of the universe, um, something further I need to tell. Our construct of reality, what we call as reality, our internal construct of what is our illusion of what life is. Yeah. To life is all beautiful until mom says you're nothing. And then you discover a little bit of dukkha. Yeah. Like, all now fine. I don't know some things. And then you go to school and then they're talking about subjects. And then they grade you with examinations. Yeah. What do you know, what you don't know. And then you have a quality versus quantity. I also got a number, but that number is not comparing with the other person's number. And I got a rank, and people look at me a certain way. So I'm having a dukkha because people are looking at me like with jealousy, or you did that. What did you do? I didn't. So being a winner also you have a problem. Being a loser also you have a problem. And you have your stories. Who you are, who you're not. Yeah. So a construct of reality, we are all on the same planet Earth. We have other planets and stars and galaxies, and we haven't figured out the shape of the universe. Yeah. So I have a person-centric model of the universe. Because we all live in our own universes. We have our own construct of reality. Yeah? With or without actual proof. A new theory comes, people used to look at these twinkly dots, and they would all call them all as stars until they discovered some are actually planets. And then they discovered when you zoom in, some of these stars, it's not just one star, it's a cluster, it's a galaxy. So when you go into details, you see other details. And then your story, your construct of reality changes. So I have a person centric model of the universe, since we all live in our own universes. And I think we're interacting when one person is talking with another person, it is one universe talking to another universe. Yeah. So we are all living in a multiverse because each of us are living in our own universes. Yeah. So how we communicate my universe to your universe, yeah, then gives us a better understanding of are we all in the same model of reality? Yeah. Because until the stars were discovered as planets and galaxies, um, we don't know what is space. And Captain Kirk of the Star Trek series says space, the final frontier. Um, many words later, it says in search of new civilizations and to go where no man has gone before. Yeah, and I'm a woman. Yeah, why am I saying this? Because I have this model of reality, and in my model of reality, space is one of the elements like earth, water, fire, air, spirit, space. We have Panchabhutas, yeah, earth, water, fire, air. Some people have four. Some people have earth, water, fire, air, spirit, not spirit. They say it's not spirit, it is space. And they say space is Akasha. And then, so some people have spirit is part of the elements. Some people have, instead of spirit, instead of space, they have, okay, they also have wood. Yeah. Chinese philosophy. So, what the universe elements are all made up of have different constructs. So, I think wood is on earth. Yeah. So, I kind of say in my model of reality, earth, water, fire, air, spirit, space. Space is also is an element. And we all are in our own spaces. Yeah. And we are looking at space differently. Some people see planets as space, the final frontier. Captain Kirk wouldn't say that because the internet formed after people started looking at stars and planets and galaxies to the idea that, you can do space travel. Yeah. Um, so there has been this idea of star and universe and multiverse and planets and all of that, after which the Star Trek series was made. And they're still saying space, the final frontier. So space hasn't been gotten. In my model of reality, me and my world, from a person-centric model of the universe, space is already figured out. Yeah. And then it is about let's improve our civilizations. Instead of in search of new civilizations, in this model of reality, it's possible to create better civilizations. So we are all better civilized people, have better stories, and have better things to do in life than peer at stars and galaxies. Kindly excuse my expression. I mean, different people have got to do something. And then they come up with another information, and then they say, oh, you know what you're saying is true, but good. So I will keep working from this person-centric model of the universe. You guys bring different dots of information, bits of information. We have the information theory. Yeah. And then we will improve content like mommy makes dishes. And then there's another ingredient. When you include this, it tastes slightly different. So you guys bring bits of information, I will improve the dishes. Yeah? Civilization, information technology, you put new ingredient, it kind of it informs the dish better and then you taste it and then life is a little more better. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I just thought it is better to share this model of reality. Hey, so life is so beautiful because the meaning of what life is from this model of reality is so much better, yeah, than your several levels of fantasies. Because I keep saying reality is so much better than fantasy. And the hard problem of consciousness that science people have been looking solutions for since some time have not figured out how is reality. Yeah, the idea of reality and meaning making and phenomenon and consciousness and all that stuff. In this model of reality, in my model of reality, there are already answers for this, and it just keeps getting better. So there is a unified field theory. I have the unifying field theory that I think is yoga. You know, you keep integrating nothing. In the beginning, there was nothing. Book of Genesis. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And then they're talking about enlightenment since quite some time, but I don't think they've really gotten it. Like, what is light? It's constant speed of light and all that stuff. E is equal to mc squared. Lots of theories, lots of more models. Yeah. We also have the standard model of particle physics. Yeah. Which does not include the weak force or the gravitational force. And they haven't, so these have been there since some time. And then the spins. And how are all of these? We have different pieces of the puzzle or different particles and waves and different theories, but how are they all putting together like Lego pieces? In this model of reality, they're all bits of information and they nicely come together. It's a continuously unifying field. It's called yoga. Like in my idea of since the Big Bang, the fabric of time space has been healing since some time. And during the Big Bang, everything went out and nothing was left in the middle. And nothing has been bringing things together since some time. You know, you come, let's have a party. You know, let's talk. Let's build things. It's all nice. You know, nothing has been talking, and people don't relate with nothing. They have no idea what in the world is nothing. Yeah, and I call it the unifying field. Come, people, let's just build something better. You know, you have such horrible stories. Yeah, let's improve our stories and your meanings of life. And I discovered one of the main problems for it is we are in our own universes, in our own models of reality. So let's talk. Yeah. We'll have better stories and a better life, and our economy will function more ecologically and sanely. Excuse my expression, but we have lots of hospitals. Yeah, people going through depression and anxiety and ooh, and the kind of constructs of stories. Yeah, pathetic. Yeah, I had to say that. You even have pathos in your music compositions. Like, ooh, you know, the gravitas of the matter, the pathos in it. There are other emotions too. But pathos is not necessarily bad, but I even have a language from my model of reality. I call it MITI. And which pathos, you kind of look at from my alphabet in my language. Pathos is like, you know, there is sa, sarigama, and then pa is sarigama pa, the fifth note. And you have the circle of fifths. So pathos from there is not, oh, you know, the gravitas of the matter or the emotional pull in the song. So it's not about the emotional pull, but it's about um, the circle of fifths. And it's not into the drama of it, no. To you to talk about, oh, this happened, something got lost. But to say, it's kind of like Wordsworth versus Tennyson. Tennyson is said to have, you know, oh, this big cosmos, like, oh, big cosmos. Yeah. A a little bit of reductionism. Yeah, you know, what's a big deal? It's there. Yeah. And Wordsworth makes a solitary reaper seem like, oh my goodness, Earth, the pale blue dot. Yeah. It's not just, oh, the pale blue dot. Yeah, and our big egos and all that, all on this one little dot. Yeah. To oh Earth. Yeah. We're on this pale blue dot and our big egos. But thank God we have Tennyson and Wordsworth. Yeah. So we're not flying off into, oh my goodness, or it's just this. Yeah. To make it into, oh, yeah. To find balance between this and this, between apparently extremes. It's also called a bandwidth. Yeah, bandwidth of normal. and tolerance and what we can handle. So, good stuff. Our model of reality has been a problem. So, I'm kind of beginning the conversation. Hopefully, we will have actual conversation person to person and not just, another video and you look at it and okay, scroll. Yeah. So it will make a lot of our lives better because this is more like the intro to the topic. Yeah, there. So I live my life from this. I'm an enterprise and four verticals, four values: breathe, heal, love, live. So you say, oh, the model of reality is gotten, so the other things are gotten. No, it's an entire civilization and how to improve civilizations, create better civilizations. For example, our stories are, have you seen the different ways of living and WHO's global list of diseases? Health, wealth, wisdom, challenges. They are talking about our civilization, our own individual construct of reality, our country stories, our ethnic stories, our religious stories, our occupational stories. It's more like what have you. Yeah. Including space science, astrology, science, physics, language, construct. We have a babble of languages. Got lots of languages. And it's like different codes talking to each other, not talking to each other. One person says energy. In science, energy means different. In spirituality, energy means different. And they may or may not be talking to each other. Force is one thing. And Star Trek series, for example, there's this idea of, oh, may the force be with you. And then there's a Mandalorian series. We're talking about force too, but I'm discovering there is the no force. Yeah. Because force begets force. No force begets no force. Coercion, manipulation, and stuff to have people be. So there's always intention, force, and energy and passion. And there's other than that. No force begets no force. But how do you not force? You got abuse and what have you all the time doing, don't know how to be. And being also is said to be a different form of doing. So it's a completely different worldview of how life functions and how to actually have yoga, where you're keeping it together and you have better civilization because we're always force doing. Yeah, may the force be with you. You don't know other than that. So it's a whole world of difference. It's a whole universe. It's a multiverse of difference. Yeah, because the language and what have you, everything is different. Yeah. So you could say 360 degree turn in how you see reality, but it's so much better. Yeah. You have WHO's global list of diseases. I call it the sick economy. The force and everything else, all of an artificial intelligence and all that you've created, stories and everything else, I call it the sick economy. And you say it's not just sickness, but then you can go little self adjustment. It's not all so bad. Yeah, it's nice too. But you also have global list of diseases because of your models of reality and whether they are talking to each other or not. I'm talking very fast. But there is other than that. So I'm talking about an entire encyclopedias. We're all going to be working on how does this work because our construct of reality is pathetic. Kind of. Because it's from your stories, from your different constructs of reality that I came with. There is other than that. Yeah. So I'm grateful. In the teleseries Grey's Anatomy, Dr. Miranda Bailey says the stupidity of the human race. Yeah. Um, be thankful for that, kind of. Like we get our paychecks from solving problems. So, and then from solving problems and the paychecks, we get our bread on the table. So, in that sense, we should be thankful. We are thankful for the stupidity of the human race, from where something intelligent, something more beautiful can be constructed. And then I discovered the stupidity also has had a reason. Because if you're also knowledgeable and you kind of fly off to outer space, not even knowing what in the world is out there, yeah. So life has been very mindful because since the Big Bang, they figured out these things. We got to get our stuff together. So We have been successful in flying to moon, and then since then we have been able to successfully send instruments to moon, but not in person. And there are reasons for it. Yeah. So life has been watching for these things called humans. Yeah. And our construct of reality and our meanings. And we haven't really gotten the math of it. When we get the math right, then you solve problems. Our idea of math is missing mathematics. So we have algebra, geometry, and arithmetics. But that is not what mathematics is. Mathematics is a field in and of itself, related with these other three. So there is made of, it's like four, four, may the force be with you. So we have some idea of whatever mathematics is. It's like we call human beings. But we have no really idea what is the shape of a human being. We have males, females, nationalities, religions, ethnicities, but have no idea what a human being is. Because if we did, we wouldn't have WHO's global list of diseases. Because there are several fields of medicine, each studying the human being from their own perspective, but have no idea what a human being is. They've not really studied the human body because we have different meanings about what it means to be human and what life is. And further on. So this is just more an intro. Yeah. So if you like to have further conversation, it's a completely different model of, well, everything. Well, figure out how different is your construct of reality and what is possible from this model of reality. So thank you so much for your kind interest. I hope this has been of value to you. Good day. I'm learning to speak more kindly, but but sometimes it's just so exasperating. Yeah. Everybody wake up and then have their own who how to do life. Yeah, energy vampiring in different things and have not haves. Who and our health maintenance practices. Oh my goodness. Our health maintenance practices in and of itself could give diseases. But we don't know that because each one is I am right. I may have religion saying this God is right. This idea of God is right. This idea of God is right. So, and the conversation continues. So I will pause for now. Uh, do stay tuned. Do check out my other videos. But this is more a beginning to getting clear on this way of living life is so much better than fantasy and the different stories. Well, to be continued. Thank you so much for your kind interest. Good day.